My son gives the best birthday presents. Whenever he needs a gift for his dad or for me, he just heads to the dumpster. Well, the recycling bin. He sifts through all of our discarded boxes and packaging and then transforms those materials into magical constructions. One year, I got a working pinball game. Another year for my husband, he made a functioning mini putting course. Most people aren't looking at trash as the building blocks to greatness, but children have an innate sense of wonder that allows them to see possibility everywhere. How do they possess this magical power? Through play. Play is baked into our children's days. From art classes to recess, our society understands the importance of play in childhood. But somewhere between childhood and adulthood, play vanishes. In her book, How to Raise an Adult, Julie Lythcott-Haims states that play matters and that adults should play too. I agree. In fact, I believe if we learn to embrace play as adults, we can learn to turn trash into treasure again too. I didn't always believe in the importance of play. In fact, I dismissed it. Play was frivolous, an optional treat for when my work was done and my goals were reached, which was never. In college, I briefly considered a major in theater, but opted for economics, more pragmatic. I felt that as an adult, it was time to work and work hard. And so, coming out of college, I chose the hardest work I could find as an analyst in the corporate finance department of an investment bank. The hours were grueling, and crunching numbers into the wee hours of the night was withering to my creative soul. But I was gaining valuable experience, and I was definitely checking that working hard box. After 2 years as an analyst, I went to work at an internet startup. It was the late 90s, the height of the dot-com boom, and people were jumping ship from their traditional jobs to make their millions in the early internet world. It was a modern-day gold rush. But, as we know, a few years later, the dot-com bubble burst, and so did my career. Overnight, I went from grinding 16 hours a day to having nothing but time on my hands. I was paralyzed. After working so hard for so many years, I had no idea what to do next. So I did what any out-of-work tech executive does. I sat at home, watching hours upon hours of The Martha Stewart Show. These were the days before DVRs, mind you, so watching Martha required some commitment on my part. I had to be home at a specific time every day just to be sure to catch her. But that was okay because there was nothing on my to-do list. And during that time, while my life was devoid of work or purpose, the strangest thing happened. As I watched Martha, day after day, my bank account dwindling, something stirred in me, and I finally started doing what I wanted to do instead of what I felt obliged to do. I started to play. I played in my kitchen. I got messy with fondant, I piped with buttercream, I morphed flour and eggs into cookies and cakes. And while I baked and frosted and molded, I felt unbounded. Play was joyful and freeing. And the irony is that while I was doing something fun without any expectation of reward, I was rewarded with the unique vision to spot an amazing opportunity. When I conceived the idea for the first ever cupcakes-only bakery, I saw a world transformed from forgettable shortening-laden cupcakes in plastic clamshells to one where cupcakes were irresistible, fresh, handcrafted, chic, and delicious. Still simple enough for kids to enjoy, but elegant enough to give as a gift. I knew it could work. I could feel it in my bones, and I knew the time was now. But no one else could see it. In fact, as I embarked on this idea, I was met with nothing but resistance. From friends who were eschewing carbs on trendy diets to potential landlords who hung up on me when they heard my idea. Everyone thought I was off my rocker. But play had rocked my world, and I would not be discouraged. When Sprinkles opened in April of 2005, it wasn't a world-changing invention. I hadn't conceived the cupcake. I had just seen it with new eyes. Eyes that were fresh from the time I had taken to play. And that joyful energy resonated, and Sprinkles became an instant hit. Albert Einstein once said that to stimulate creativity, one must develop the childlike inclination for play. We know Albert Einstein is a genius, renowned for his work in physics, but did you know that he was also one of history's most avid proponents of play? It's true. Einstein engaged in what he called combinatory play to help inspire his incredible breakthroughs. When faced with a problem, instead of just doubling down and trying to work through it, he took long, leisurely breaks to play on his violin. By allowing his mind to rest, he let his subconscious mind work and figure out the answers to all the problems that he was grappling with. Okay, so maybe you don't play the violin. You can't even bang out chopsticks on the piano. That's okay. Play is merely about doing something different, unexpected, something that brings you joy and pleasure. It doesn't even have to be anything you're good at. Really, the messier the better. Coloring, a game of cards, even capture the flag. Take your pick. And while you're enjoying yourself, you could very well be unlocking the next big innovation. One evening, a few years into our sprinkles journey, when I was pregnant with our first son, my husband and I returned home from a party. It was late, and guess what? I was craving a cupcake. A sprinkles cupcake. Easy enough, right? Well, not exactly. I had already eaten all the cupcakes at the house, and it was well past Sprinkles Bakery closing time. I was out of luck. No cupcake for the pregnant lady that night. But instead of just dismissing the idea as impossible, my husband and I started playing with ideas and what ifs. What if you could get a cupcake any time of night? If you did, then you could actually monetize your business 24 hours a day. Why wouldn't you? You pay rent 24 hours a day. And this went on and on. Well, many would have accepted the fact that Sprinkles was closed and there were no cupcakes to be had at midnight. Our playful mindset led to a groundbreaking idea: the cupcake ATM. It took a couple years to build out the technology on our new invention, but when the time came to launch this newfangled device and we were offering the exclusive story to several media outlets, they all turned it down. No one was interested. No one else could see our vision. And so one spring day in 2012, we simply took down the construction barricade. Maybe someone would notice. Well, soon enough, a few pedestrians happened upon it, posted a few videos on social media, and just like that, the match was lit. Within hours, we had received dozens of calls from media around the world, and news crews were fighting each other for space on the sidewalk to be the first to officially break the story of this newfangled innovation. Innovation can be an intimidating word. We associate it with the world of technology. But innovation simply means doing something new or smarter or just better. Home from a party, Charles and I played with ideas until we landed on something unexpected and innovative. I believe that if you take the time to play, even with ideas, it can lead to innovations that you can't even imagine. Sadly, there is nothing playful about the prevailing work culture in our country right now. When I was growing up, there was a popular song about the workday grind. The chorus went like this: "Working 9 to 5, what a way to make a living. Barely getting by, it's all taking and no giving." Recognize it? Dolly Parton's 9 to 5 sounds a little quaint these days, doesn't it? People are working harder than ever. The 40-hour work week is a thing of the distant past. Even the 60-hour work week seems pleasantly old-fashioned. And in today's culture, the hustle is revered, the relentless grind glorified. If you're not working around the clock, are you even working at all? We're not even taking the vacations that we've earned. A study by Glassdoor found that the average American only took 54% of their vacation days in 2018. Here are some popular hashtags you might know. Hashtag hustle harder. Hashtag rise and grind. Hashtag TGIM. Thank God it's Monday. And what is the result of all this hustle? Burnout. In fact, millennials have become known as the burnout generation. Anne Helen Peterson, a millennial herself, wrote a book called Can't Even: How Millennials Became the Burnout Generation. She says, "We treat work as a religion that we orient our entire life around, and it's become so normalized that we don't even see it as a choice. What's more, for marginalized communities, this feeling is nothing new. This workaholism is made worse by modern technology's constant connectivity, which puts an end to any sort of work-life balance. Work has become an endless cycle that never shuts off, and it's leading to exhaustion, anxiety, and loss of productivity. It's time to change the battle cry. It's time to get serious about play. And I'm not just talking about a spa day, hashtag self-care, or a party that's actually a networking event for work, hashtag getting that ROI. I'm talking about getting silly, getting messy, getting moving, and just having fun. Play releases endorphins, it sharpens our brains, and keeps us creative as well as feeling young. Play gives us the fuel to keep going. After all, it is a long game we're playing, right? I propose we power up our lives by replacing hustle culture with play culture. Let's start by substituting these hashtags. Hashtag play to succeed. Hashtag play to work. Hashtag play to innovate. When you lean into your inner child and play, there are no rules. So you end up dreaming big instead of simply making the choices you are supposed to make. But how can we hold on to play? My son is 13 years old now. He's on the cusp. He stands 5'10", eye to eye with me. I call him my man-child. Most of his friends have dropped off into the land of texting and video games, and not that my son doesn't love a round of Fortnite, but he still loves to run and create and play. He's still hanging on to this part of childhood, but soon it will be gone, replaced by peer pressure and the perfect TikTok. And before you know it, he'll be seeing old shoeboxes instead of pinball machines. At a certain point, we stop playing, and we start playing by other people's rules. When was the last time you played? Truly played? As adults, we don't hold space for play. How can we when there's no more time to be squeezed out of our jam-packed days? As a mom, I plan play dates for my kids. I schedule them in the calendar just like any other appointment. As adults, do we need to resort to scheduling play dates for ourselves? I hope not. Play shouldn't feel like another thing on your to-do list. So, how do you do it? Well, you could make play your work. As the proverb goes, choose a job you love and you'll never work a day in your life. If that doesn't feel accessible, then start smaller. Commit to learning a playful skill that is not productive in any way. Dancing, coloring, hula hooping, or Indonesian gamelan. That still feels like a stretch? Then try to adopt a playful mindset. Can you look at the world in a little more color? Be present in your own daydream on the way to work. Allow yourself to think beyond your usual boundaries and welcome what ifs. By stepping outside our harried routines and leaning into a little bit of wonder, doodling, or spontaneous play, I believe we are scratching a deep inner itch, wiping away weariness and unleashing a treasure trove of profound gifts such as creativity and innovation. So, I propose we all log off to go play and stumble across some groundbreaking innovations in the process. Thank you.